Deep beneath the sands of Egypt, there's a legend, a ghost. We're talking about a colossal structure, something so incredible that ancient historians said it put even the Great Pyramids to shame. And, this isn't just some forgotten tomb or a hidden bunker. No, this is something far, far bigger. A massive complex, a time capsule really, that was actually found, confirmed with modern science, and then almost overnight, it was hidden from the world again. 3,000. Just let that number sink in. That's how many chambers ancient writers said this labyrinth had. It's a number so huge, it's almost impossible to even picture. So that's the real mystery here, isn't it? How does a discovery of this magnitude, something that could literally rewrite history, get found, proven real, and then just disappear? Not behind a stone door, but behind a wall of total silence. To even begin to understand what's going on, we have to go way back to the very first person who laid eyes on this place and was credible enough to write it all down. So way back in 450 BC, this Greek historian, Herodotus, travels to Egypt, and what he finds there just completely blows his mind. He's basically saying that if you took every single building in Greece, all the temples, all the monuments, and put them together, they still wouldn't compare to the labyrinth. I mean, wow. And you have to understand, Herodotus wasn't some fantasy writer. He's called the father of history for a very good reason. His whole deal was documenting what he actually saw, what he could verify. He was like an ancient journalist, so when he says he saw this thing, it carries a lot of weight. And he gave some incredible details. He talks about 12 huge courtyards, and get this, 3,000 rooms split between an upper level and a lower level. He was allowed to see the top floor, with all its maze-like passages and amazing carvings. But the bottom level? Nope. That was completely off limits. The priest told him that's where they kept the tombs of kings and sacred crocodiles. So for hundreds of years after Herodotus wrote about it, the labyrinth was famous. It was a true wonder of the world. But then, it just vanished. The stones were probably taken for other buildings, the desert reclaimed it, and eventually people forgot. In modern times, most archaeologists just wrote it off as a tall tale, a myth. That is, until very, very recently. All right, so let's fast forward a couple of millennia. This is where the story takes a sharp turn from ancient legend into hard modern science. This is where everything changed. Okay, so picture this. It's 2008, and a team of Belgian and Egyptian experts, the Matahaya expedition, shows up at the location Herodotus described. But they didn't bring shovels and brushes. They brought the heavy-duty tech, ground-penetrating radar. They were literally going to look for this myth without digging a single hole. And what they found was just astounding. As they scanned the ground, their radar hit something huge about 30 feet down. It wasn't rock. It was a massive, clearly man-made structure. On their screens, a perfect grid appeared, a sprawling complex of walls and ceilings stretching for hundreds and hundreds of meters. And that was the moment. That was this smoking gun. The ancient description from over 2,000 years ago perfectly lined up with the 21st century radar scan. The legend wasn't a legend anymore. It was real. The lost labyrinth had actually been found. Now, you'd think this would be the moment for a global celebration, right? Champagne corks popping in archaeology departments everywhere. Well, that's not quite what happened. I mean, seriously, this should have been front-page news all over the globe. Lost wonder of the ancient world confirmed by science. But the explosion of excitement that should have happened was followed by this really strange, deafening silence. So the expedition team got all their amazing results together, ready to publish this historic find. And then, just as they were about to go public, the plug was pulled. Egyptian authorities stepped in, stopped the announcement, restricted access to the site, and the whole thing just got buried. And this is the part that makes absolutely no sense. Why would you hide a discovery this big? This is the kind of thing that brings prestige, tourism. It literally changes the history books. So what possible reason could there be for keeping it a secret? Well, there are a couple of major theories floating around. The first one is all about control. Some people believe the labyrinth isn't just rooms, but a hall of records that could hold information that completely upends the official timeline of ancient Egypt. That's a political hot potato. The other theory is more practical. The site is probably flooded with groundwater now, making any kind of excavation incredibly difficult and dangerous. You could end up destroying it just by trying to uncover it.
So, where does that leave us today? We're stuck with this incredible discovery, something we know is there, but it's just out of reach. It's like a library made of stone, and it's in real trouble.
The really tragic part is that right now, as we speak, the labyrinth is probably deteriorating. All the runoff from nearby farms and the rising groundwater are slowly eating away at the ancient stone. We're in a race against time, but we're just standing on the sidelines, letting this historical treasure just dissolve. You know, someone described it perfectly. They called it Schrodinger's cat of archaeology. It's both there and not there at the same time. Science proved it exists, but because of bureaucracy, we have to pretend it doesn't. It's a confirmed reality, yet it's treated like a state secret. And that really brings us to the final, haunting question. We're talking about 3,000 rooms, rooms that could be filled with knowledge, with art, with answers to questions about our own history that we haven't even thought to ask yet. What part of our own story are we just allowing to turn back to dust, right under our feet?